I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun.
Listen to Pavarotti.
Can I be your superhero?
Hello, welcome to The Revealing. I'm your host, Pavarotti, and I'm here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. And just to tell you, I've been working on things. I guess I've been working on things for a long time now, but here the last week or so, I've been really digging in on certain aspects, and it is so telling. And I've been leaving a lot of breadcrumbs and a lot of videos, and I've worked really hard today just to try to completely understand that FBI report of suspect vehicle and to really get it to where I can visually see what's going on. And it has helped me to really start to figure out some things, and I'll be bringing them to you soon. I'm going to share that with you in this video though, just so you can see what I see, so that when we get into the discussion about it, I want everybody to already be thinking a little bit about what they're seeing with their own two eyes. But in this video, what we're going to focus on is just insaneness. In my video I did yesterday, as I gave the update on the case, I brought up Miss Tanya and what was strange about a status conference that just happens to be scheduled just a few days before the Kohberger trial is set to begin. Well, she is one of those CIs that I thought that they would have some kind of contact with around the beginning of the trial, just to reaffirm, just in case they are needed. The other one, though, is Mr. Farley. And as we know, they had put him away for just a little bit in what I believe to be a protective custody unit. And I've been waiting for some word to come back on Mr. Farley as we lead into the trial, especially as it relates to if Kohberger produces an alibi or not. You see, I've gone over it, I don't know how many times on these videos, but when Brian Kohberger submitted his final alibi, it was met with a very harsh response from Bill Thompson, and it was almost like a threat. It was, if you allow Brian Kohberger to produce an alibi, then they're going to need a little time to gather a list of witnesses who can testify to his presence on the scene of the crime that evening. And I've always been like, how could he even have a list of witnesses, and why wouldn't he already produce them? Well, you can bet, because that list of witnesses he's going to produce is some very shady characters, and they're more than likely involved with being confidential informants, which you don't want to disclose as law enforcement if you don't have to. But he'll pull that card if he has to, I assure you. So I've been looking for them to wrap their arms around Farley leading into this thing, because with a wild card like that, they don't want to let him get too far out there, because then they might not even be able to find him come trial if they do need him. So I was watching the amazingly great Bubbly Waters last night, and sure enough, she has done her job above and beyond. She is awesome, and she keeps an eye on that jail roster over there in Latah County, and sure enough, very odd, they arrest Farley again. And as she was going through and showing the arrest and where they got him, of course, once again, like they do every time, supposedly he's passed out at a Dollar General or a Family Dollar or whatever kind of dollar store, they say they got him at. But when she shows his new mugshot in jail, he's looking pretty rough. But she also shows his charges in jail. And then she looked up his counts that he's actually charged with. And I don't know if she caught it or not, but something profound happened right there. So I'm going to let you watch just a little bit of Bubbly's video. Bubbly, you're awesome. Everybody go subscribe to Bubbly's channel because she is awesome. I'll put the link to her video in the description of this video. And take a look at what she had to show you, and then I'm going to point out something very strange.
Anyway, I wanted you to see this. And Embry, this one's for you too. So now we've got, this is a new guy, that Chandler, Cole Chandler's new up in there. I'll see if I can crop these once I get them in here so you can see them better. I'll take like a screenshot and do that little bit. And then, of course, there's Couch that's in there was named in the very beginning as being a perp in this whole thing by the one guy, Justin. He named him and 3 others. And one of them was Fry. Anyway, so he's been in there for quite a while. This guy, the 3rd guy, he's the one that locked his ex-girlfriend or whatever in the shed and told her he's going to take a hammer to her. She was doing laundry, and he literally locked her in the shed. Oh, in the storage unit is what it was. That guy. So look at this, you guys. Look, there's Farley. Check it out. Guess who's back in town? I mean, in the clink. Look at that. Another charge. And would you look how different he looks? Look at how he morphs. That dude can look different every single time you see him. Looks like he's been working hard at construction. So maybe Unk's putting him to work, huh? Been working out there on the old, construction company, off of, what road, you guys know. Across from, Schweitzer. Next to Monday and Watakari. Yeah. Yep, that one. Looks like he's being put to work. He looks a little pissed off. He's back in it, doesn't he? He looks mad. He's getting some gray hair, too. Look at that. He's starting to look like all of them over there. So let's see what's he in for this time. Same old. Same old, but why do they have him in there? Why do they keep putting him in there when they just keep letting him out? So we should see how long he's in there. So let's see what happened here. 6/2/2025. Let's go see what happened on that day in the police reports. Okay, meanwhile, back at the ranch, some other people in here. There's a few new ones in here. So they're showing him as being, its file date is 6/3, but what the incident was done on the 2nd. They always usually do a day ahead is when the incident happened. So 6/2. So more possession, same thing as normal. A misdemeanor. After all the stuff he's done, a misdemeanor. That's nuts. But this is even more nuts. Another new case, criminal. Prosecution signed. Financial. Nothing else. Nothing else on here. That is it.
Great job, Bubbly. And normally I would just look at that and be like, well, there you go. But because Bubbly was so awesome and she showed his charges of what he's in the jail for, and then she pulled the recent actual charges from the court record, and she was pointing out the fact that they had only charged him with a misdemeanor for possession with paraphernalia with intent to use, and I'd clearly seen, a couple of counts of possession on his jail roster thing there. So I went, how can he only have a misdemeanor charge for possession of paraphernalia with intent to use when it showed he had 2 counts of possession also? And you got to understand, this is how this stuff works with these confidential informants, right? They get arrested. Sometimes those arrests aren't even real. I mean, they'll set up the arrest. That's why whenever he continues to get arrested because he was unconscious at a dollar store, it's just too convenient the way they set that stuff up. And then I see that he's charged with possession of controlled substances, count 1 and 2, and count 2 being the strongest, upper in the world. How is he unconscious? So all that stuff just kind of makes me go, So I went ahead and pulled up his charges in the Idaho court dockets, and I want you to look at this, Bubbly, because we are going to expose this before it even happens. I'm going to show you what they do in cases like this, and this is more than likely them just wrapping their arms around Farley because they want to keep him somewhere where he's clean as a whistle, and the only place they know to do that's probably the county jail. So unfortunately for him, he's going to be spending the next couple of months in the county jail, is my prediction, so that he is clean as a whistle when it comes time for trial in case they need him to testify. And this is the proof in the pudding. All right, I'm going to show you how this stuff works in real time. Watch this. All right, so when we go to his case summary, and you can see, look, he's got 5 pages of arrests. I mean, he is a career criminal. So when I say he got the deal of the century right here, he got the deal of the century, and he's had more deals of the century since then. But you can see right here is what Bubbly Waters was just showing, and that is his most recent charges. And drug paraphernalia with intent to use, misdemeanor. File date 6/2/25. You can see events and hearing, new case, criminal. Citation filed, prosecutor assigned, and that's all you see right here. But what you don't see by looking at this is what is really happening right in front of you in real time. You see, when you go back to the search results, you'll see that's CR 251347. But CR 251348 was actually filed before CR, or actually filed, I guess, at the same time, CR 29251347. See, when we go to 1348, you'll see different things. You'll see things like State of Idaho, prosecuting attorney assigned, Bill Thompson. Uh-oh, that's interesting. Did the other one have that? Let's see. Did that new one have that? No, the new one is judicial officer Megan Marshall. Oh yeah, look, there's no prosecutor assigned in the case. It just has the judicial officer and the attorney. Uh-oh. Dang it, I clicked on the wrong thing here. Hang on. All right, so when comparing these records, now when we go to this one, you know, he's already got the prosecutor assigned, and this is the one that he should be getting charged with. And you can see it is actually controlled substance possession felony, controlled substance possession felony, and then the drug paraphernalia with intent to use misdemeanor, all filed at the same time on 6/2. Bond setting on 6/3, and you can see they've already had, look at this, they've already had a whole bunch of stuff happen on this one. Initial appearance in the magistrate court, right? They've already produced, it's a new case, prosecutor assigned, criminal complaint, affidavit of probable cause, notification of rights. You know, they've already appointed him a public defender. Look at all this. Notice of assignment, public defender, comment, state of public defender, counsel issued, waiver of extradition, scheduled preliminary hearing for June 12th with the magistrate Judge Marshall. But then look at this. We got Megan Nolta Page, Judge Marshall, magistrate replacement. Oh, hearing time 10 a.m. There's some stuff going on with this one, but then you see at the exact same time, they filed a whole different case. And that different case is for a much less offense, same day, and then there's nothing on this. Why do you think they have these two different cases filed at the exact same time? And 1347 was even apparently filed, you would think, before 1348 if they go in order. Maybe they go in descending order. I don't know, but they filed these two cases because what they're going to try to do is hold this one over his head to make sure he continues to do what he's supposed to do. And if he follows along like he's supposed to, this one will go away, and then this will be his case right here. It's always the same thing with these guys, and that's how you know they work for Bill Thompson, in my humble opinion. And when you go back to that original alibi reply by the state, when Bill said he's going to get together a list of witnesses to place Kohberger at the scene, that is out of the old playbook of let me bring in the thugs to testify against the defendant to make sure we get a conviction. In this case, though, we may have a nuclear bomb waiting to explode at trial. Let me explain why. It's easy for me to see, what's going on with, Farley and Rhodes right now, because if y'all remember, I've predicted this actually happening a long time ago. And I've done it in so many videos, it's unreal. It's right before the trial. You're going to see things that really start popping with those two. And to be very frank, I've given my predictions or my judgment on who the actual perpetrators of the atrocity on King Road are. And I've done it many times, and I mean, I haven't really waned from that. The actual perpetrators, I've always believed for a long time that it was a guy named Slocum, a guy named Leonard, and Farley is either the lookout or a participant. And that's been my three suspects. And I've gone as far as to suggest that maybe the alternative perpetrators could include Mr. Farley. And I mean, I would imagine she's got Farley and Leonard in there as the alternative perpetrators. So the nuclear bomb that could happen is, I'm looking at this from the prosecution standpoint of what they put in that reply for the alibi, knowing that the defense is going to be bringing an alibi before trial, and knowing what Bill Thompson said if they do that. He's going to put together a list of witnesses that could put Kohberger at the scene. Well, it's my opinion that his list of witnesses include his CIs, which would be Farley and Rhodes. But it's also my opinion that Farley was either the lookout or a participant in the atrocity. So what if we've got a real nuclear bomb ready to go off? What if Ann Taylor has actually named Farley as one of the alternative perpetrators, and Bill Thompson is preparing to put him in as somebody that could overrule the alibi by witness testimony? Would that not just be an explosion of things when this thing hits the trial? Everything is just getting more and more interesting by the day. All right, I'm going to move past that right now. I just wanted to give you that update because that is insane. But the next thing I want to do is I'm going to show you, because I've spent a lot of time on this thing, taking every movement of what the FBI's exhaustive report lists as the camera capturing suspect vehicle 1 and the route to which it had to continue to travel. So I've put it together in one cohesive animation, for the lack of a better word. And it's the only way that I can see this report making any sense. So I've got it where I want to show it to you. And as you watch it, I'm not going to narrate it or anything. I just want you to look at it, because I think when you look at it visually and it's accurate, then it really starts to give you some insight on some things. And I'd like to hear your thoughts after you actually watch that, of what do you take away? Not just focusing on, the vehicle itself and what it's doing, but where it's going and other things. Look at it close and then give me your opinion on what it is. What kind of patterns do you see? Is there anything particular that you believe is worth looking deeper into? Check it out. Let me know if you see any mistakes on there, because, you know, I am absolutely prone to making mistakes, especially when doing animation like that. That wasn't easy. But also, please let me know your thoughts. And please like and subscribe to the channel. Post your comments, thoughts, criticisms. Till next time, Pavarotti's out.